part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
And welcome to another Reghi Roda podcast powered by MGM Northfield Park right here on the Press Play Podcast Network, as we always do. Can't start the podcast without thanking the guy that makes sure the podcast gets out to all of you in the podcatosphere, and that's our outstanding producer, Ty Cordts. So a tip of the cap to Ty. High five, some flowers sent your way. That's what the kids say these days, Ty. So you got flowers coming your way. So keep up the fantastic work, Ty, and we appreciate you getting us up and out there for everybody to listen to the Reghi and Roda podcast. And Michael Reghi, yes, the Browns had their draft. They didn't have a first-round pick, and we're going to get to who they did select in rounds 2 through 7 a little bit later in the podcast. But we have to start with the Cleveland Cavaliers, Michael Reghi, because after 2 games, it looked like, oh, okay, maybe they learned something from last year's embarrassing 4-1 defeat to the Knicks in the first round, up 2-0, won both games by double digits. But then they go on the road, Michael Reghi, and on the road at Orlando, they lose 121-83. That's 38 points, worst loss in playoff history in Cavaliers franchise history. And then they follow that up with leading at halftime by 9 and then losing 112-89. That is, Michael, a 32-point turnaround from the half to the end of the game. This series is tied 2-2. Who the hell are the Cavaliers, Michael Reghi?
I wish I had a real good answer to that, Kenneth Roda. I don't. I called the performance yesterday deplorable on the X, and I thought maybe with 24 hours plus to really evaluate it, watch it again, maybe I'd find some silver lining. No. It was a deplorable performance. Playoff team. What did our buddy Jim Moore playoffs? What did it? Come on now. You cannot, Ken. You cannot have that kind of a lame, weak performance in the playoffs. And for all of you that I value so wonderfully, all of our followers that Kenny and I have, but all of you that hit me with, come on, Reghi, it's just one game. No. I can't believe that really you feel that that's the assessment of that. Just one game? If it's November or December, I wouldn't be as put out as I am. Kenny, you can come on now. You cannot, that kind of weak, lame performance, physically dominated, absolutely had no answer, none, for anything that the Orlando Magic put out there. And we thought after 2 basketball games that the Cavaliers, we're far and away the better basketball team. Kenny Roda, I'm not so sure, my man. I'm not so sure. I got a feeling this might just go 7. And that's not good. That's just not good. And if you, again, don't hit me with, well, Reghi, we didn't think they were going to win an NBA championship. That's bull crap. That's no, and again, I'm not saying I disagree with you, but I don't expect to see these type of weak, lame, absolute disaster-filled performances in a playoff game, Kenny.
Reg, okay, game 3, we've seen it in the past where a team gets blown out, right? And we've seen the Boston Massacre, and we've seen other teams get blown out in one game. However, okay, they usually bounced back and either won the next game or at least made it a fourth quarter game, final 2 minutes where it was decided one way or the other, right? And I thought for sure with the way the Cavaliers started, their intensity in the first quarter, I remember tweeting it out, saying I absolutely love the intensity, and they were up by 9 at halftime. And then I don't know if they thought the game was over at that point, that they had arrived again after, like they were up 2-0. They thought the series was over and they got embarrassed. And then they go up by 9, 60-51 in game 4. And maybe they thought again, okay, there we go. Well, we sent a message, this game's over. And then they just got annihilated, Michael Reghi, in that third quarter. And, what was it? 37-10, I think it was, in that third quarter. One of the worst playoff quarters in Cavaliers history. And Michael, they've been outscored now in the last 2 games, both losses. In the last 2 third quarters, you ready for this? 72-26. So I ask you, Michael Reghi, is that on the players or is that on the coaching staff and the lack of adjustments or the inability to adjust to what Jamal Mosley and the Orlando Magic adjusted to at halftime? Because I don't know what it is. I'm not sure if it's just, the players running out of gas because they emptied the tank in the first half, or if it's, the head coach, JB Bickerstaff, in the locker room at halftime, all right, sitting there thinking, all right, well, we're up by 9. Yeah, we got this thing figured out. Guys, just keep doing the same thing. We're good to go. Let's move forward with our offense, the way we're playing it, our defense, the way we're playing it. And, we'll take this one, go back to Cleveland up 3-1 with a chance to close it out on Tuesday night, 4-1 like the Knicks closed us out. And then that third quarter rolled around, and I watched it, and I just sat there in total disbelief. I mean, Max Strus is worthless. Don't give me this, he's a tough competitor. He helps us on the defensive end. He couldn't hit the frickin' ocean if he fell out of the Titanic. That's how bad he's shooting, all right? And he's not the only one. I did the stats, Michael Reghi, all right? 3-point shooting for the Cavaliers as a team in this series. I know I'm rambling a little bit, but bear with me. 3-point shooting for the Cavaliers in this series so far, all right? 29 of 123. They've made 29 out of 123 shots. They've almost missed 100 3-point shots in 4 games. They're shooting 23% from the field, from 3-point range in the first 4 games. And then if you break it down individually, and I did this, me, once I get on a tangent, I got to look up everything so I can verify what my Butch Davis is, my gut feeling is, and it backs it up, right? 3-point shooting. Here we go. Donovan Mitchell, 7 for 28, 25%. Darius Garland, 8 for 22. He leads the team at 36% amongst the top 8 players. All right. Evan Mobley, 3 for 11, 27%. Remember now, he made his first 2, so that means he's 1 for his last 9. Max Strus, 3 for 17 from 3-point range, 17%. Karis LeVert, you know me, Red. Sorry, I'm too inconsistent for me. Karis LeVert, 3 for 13, 23%. George Niang, he almost had the Blutarski shooting percentage. Has no grade point average, right? Remember that? He did hit 1 in game 3. He's 1 for 11, 9% from 3-point range. Isaac Okoro, 2 for 7, 28%. And then Sam Merrill in limited playing time, 0 for 2 the first game, 3 for 4 in game 3. He's 3 for 6, but JB's not playing him. He's sticking with his guys, Max Strus and George Niang and whoever else. It's mind-boggling to me, Michael. I just sit here, I scratch my head, and I look at the coaching, I look at the players, I look at the front office who put the team together, and I have no idea who's going to show up for game number 5 Tuesday night at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I have no clue, no idea. I'm hoping it's the team that was there the first 2 games. And in this series, maybe home court will matter because the records say based on the regular season, Orlando, a very good home team, not a good road team. Well, there's 3 games left in this series and 2 of them are in Cleveland. So if you're looking for glass half full based on a 2-2 series, Cleveland has home court advantage. And so far, each team's won on its home floor.
Kenny, it's going to have to be. I mean, it looks like it's coming down to that. right? Again, this to me has all the earmarks of a 7-game series now. Maybe the Cavaliers find a way to win Game 5, going to lose in Orlando in Game 6, and then Kenny, I just don't like the way they're constructed for Game 7s. Now, they're not playing the 1986 Boston Celtics or anything like that. However, I just don't know if this team has the mental wherewithal to be able to win a Game 7. And to me, Ken, in Game 7s, I don't know about you, home floor minimizes, means less. And so I think there are just a world of concerns about where the Cavaliers are right now. You just laid it out. I mean, they are not a real good shooting team when, you really push comes to shove and you break it down. And again, right now, to me, the only guy that has played consistently well is Jared Allen.
Yep.
The rest of them, again, horse baloney. So unless these guys all decide that they're going to pick it up, and I mean not just one or two of them, they need 4 or 5 of them to join Allen. Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Karis LeVert, Max Strus. This means you guys. You're going to have to start playing winning playoff basketball because, again, I'm not going to go back. Kenny, I didn't get that enamored with their 2 wins at home to start the series, right? Okay. They did what they're supposed to do, right? They protected home floor.
Right.
Now, if you want, Orlando did the same thing. They protected home floor. But y'all keep telling me the Cavaliers are the decidedly better basketball team.
Right.
So shouldn't they have been able to? Kenny, I thought for sure, here again, if I would have lost a lot of money, because I would have told you after Cavaliers go to split in Orlando and come home 3-1 and then probably wrap it up in Game 5. Well, now we're talking about the worry about what a Game 7 could potentially bring, even though it's at home. So there you go. That's where this is at right now.
Reg, I looked at, all these other series that are going on, right? And the stars stepped up. Now, I know Philadelphia lost today, and they're down 3-1, but Embiid dropped 50 to get them a win. Then Brunson countered that by dropping 47 today to give New York the win.
Yeah.
You go out west, and the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard looked much better than they did with Kawhi Leonard. James Harden and Paul George each went for 33. LeBron and AD and the Lakers avoided the sweep as AD went double-double, 25 points, 23 rebounds, LeBron 30 points. Donovan Mitchell wants a $200 million contract for 4 years at $50 million per. Guess what? This is where he needs to step up and drop 40 on the Orlando Magic and give the Cavaliers a 3-2 lead. Yes, he needs some help from his teammates, but he's got to lead the way, Michael Reghi, if he wants to be included, in that grouping.
1,000%. Not going to disagree with you at all. And all of you, if you follow the NBA, you know what this is about. It is star constructed, and those stars have to shine the brightest in late April and throughout the month of May and into June. Period. If your best players cannot take you to that next level with their game, and if their game diminishes, Ken, when we get into playoff time, what are we talking about here? That then you got more trouble than you really think you have. Because again, Donovan Mitchell, I like Donovan Mitchell, I like him a lot. He's a damn good player, but he's yet to show me that he can rally up a basketball team, let everybody know, yeah, I'm the best that this team has, and I'm not going to let us fail. When's he going to take charge and do that, Kenny?
I'm waiting, right? What's the old line from Caddyshack from Judge Smales? We're waiting,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
We're all waiting, Donovan, okay?
That's right.
And I know he may not be 100%, but a lot of guys are playing banged up, right? And so if he's out there, then I've got to believe he has to deliver whether he's hurt or not. So this is where at home, where you're supposed to be more comfortable shooting, right? This needs to be his game from the get-go, and he needs to not only start it, but close it and be the finisher.
Well, yeah. And again, for all of you saying, well, you guys are being hard, he's got to get help. Well, of course, everybody needs to get help. But you still, if you want to be thought of that way, and that guy, that's not, look at Jalen Brunson today, Kenny.
Yep.
Huh? Look at what Jalen Brunson did to push his team on the road up 3-1 and now pretty much end the life of the Philadelphia 76ers, who are not going to beat the Knicks 3 straight.
Oh, not Madison Square Garden. It ain't happening. No,
Well,
they got to play 2 games
there.
Yeah, no chance.
But they went on the road today.
Yep.
That's what a premium player who has a killer mentality does. And Jalen Brunson, just like Donovan Mitchell, is a 6'1" shooting guard.
Yep.
And he just absolutely took the Philadelphia 76ers today and said, "You're mine, baby. There's none of you can stop me." And they did not. And that's a resounding road. That's the kind of performance, Kenny, we need to see from Donovan Mitchell. Again, ooh, Reghi, he got 44 against Boston in January. No, man, that's not what this is about. Right. Again, April, May, and June. If you're the guy, that's when you got to tell everybody why you're the guy and give a Jalen Brunson-like performance on the road today as he just cut off the you-know-what of the Philadelphia 76ers to grab that 3-1 lead in their series. I want to see that from Donovan Mitchell, Kenny Roda.
Amen.
That's what I want to see.
Amen. I'm with you 100%. And Knicks fans, if I'm you, I don't want Donovan Mitchell over Jalen Brunson right now. I'll take Jalen Brunson.
No. Exactly right.
Right? 100%. I mean, Jalen Brunson was a winner in college. He's a winner here in the NBA. And, oh, yeah, by the way, he's knocked Donovan Mitchell out of the playoffs in the 2 previous years, once in Dallas, right? And then once last year with the Knicks.
That's right. No, I mean, that's not even a conversation, in my opinion. So we'll stay focused on what Donovan Mitchell needs to do. And what Donovan Mitchell needs to do is show why everybody believes, at least, Kenny, he has this kind of wherewithal to be this kind of clutch performer and bring his team up from the bootstraps. Because who else on this team's going to do it?
Yeah, there ain't nobody.
Again, listen, much love from me to Jared Allen.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. But so disappointing the way that they have played. And Kenny, again, to exacerbate it, you play a pretty decent first half, got a 9-point lead, and then 37-10 in a quarter. Yeah, you're not going to see that kind of absolute disastrous play too often in an NBA playoff game.
And Reg, the deer in the headlights look from J.B. Bickerstaff in that third quarter, he had no clue, no idea what to do, how to stem the tide, who to put in. And hey, we said Donovan's got to step up, and he does. I'm with you 100%. But
well, they all do.
JB's getting out-coached by Jamal Mosley. JB, he's got to find a way to, counter what the Magic are doing in these last 2 wins. And he also, needs to take George Niang and sit his ass on the bench and give Marcus Morris some meaningful minutes just to mix it up, to give him a different look. And a little more toughness out there and see what happens. And put Sam Merrill in there for a few more minutes if you can't shoot from 3-point range. That's his specialty. They've got to try something, Michael, because what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result? Well, you see what happened the last 2 games. So let's see what J.B. Bickerstaff does as a coach in game number 5.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see, as you say, if he lets this continue to to fester and get the Cavaliers in a situation because Kenny, I'm going to tell you what, if they don't win Game 5, it'll be
it's
over in 6.
Absolutely.
They'll be over in 6. They'll have lost 4 in a row, and can once again, and yeah, then yeah, there's going to be a lot of changes. General manager may lose his job too. Might be a double do. Might be both the general manager and the head coach.
Let's hope that doesn't.
And then you got it. And then you got to just. You might as well then pull apart the roster. Then you know what I mean. I mean you because like I've told you, you could tell me all you want about this core 4 that I'm not as effusively enthused about it, Kenny, as most people are. Allen, Mobley, Mitchell, and Darius Garland, I'm not even going to get into because you're smiling. You know how I feel. I'm not a Darius Garland guy. For everything that he'll do to help you, I'm telling you, he'll also kill you and hurt you in many, many situations. So, and again, he's not the only one now. I'm not picking on him, but he's your point guard, Ken. He's your point guard. He's the guy that's got to pull everything together when things are starting to go askew. And do you see that from him?
No.
You see that sense or get that sense from him?
No, none whatsoever. Nope. The only guy that doesn't need to grow a pair is Jared Allen. And we pointed that out. He's played very well in all 4 games, right? He's the only.
Yes.
The other guy's got to grow a pair because they had their manhood taken away from them by the Wagner brothers and Suggs and Wendell Carter.
Wendell Carter, yeah.
Come on, how embarrassing was that? I mean, gee, Christmas.
No, I know. We're not saying anything that isn't a thought and isn't said behind closed doors around the league. Just hang with the Cavaliers and then stick your foot on their throat because they're not going to respond. That's the thought about them throughout the league. And again, I'm with Jared. Remember, Allen took all kinds of heat for his, and rightfully so, like everybody else, no show against the New York Knicks last year. He took all the heat, but at least he has turned it around and is doing something about that this playoff series. So I'll give him that. But it's going to take a lot more than just him. And, I mean, if Max Strus and George Niang, and I don't know, though, Kenny. I don't know where they're going to go. You just said, I'm going to play Merrill a little bit, see if he can hit a shot. Okay, that's fine.
I'm Marcus Morris. Give me a little Marcus Morris when the game's on the line, not when it's a blowout.
Marcus Morris will hit somebody. I'm with you.
And he may hit some shots too.
When did that happen? He was playing when he first came to the Cavaliers and getting 15, 18 minutes a game.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden that flat out stopped. And I don't get it. I don't understand that one. What the hell did you bring him in for? You brought him in so that he could add a little bit of front court strength and physicality and make a couple of shots. We're not even playing him. So I don't know. I just know it's damn disappointing. But Kenny, again, in retrospect, I can't say I thought it was going to be a lot different than last year anyway, to be real honest. Now
I did, Reg, because of how young the Magic were. I thought the Magic, the lights would be too bright for them like they were for the Cavs last year. I picked the Cavs in 6. So they're, potentially they could still win it with what I picked before the series started. But I thought it could end in 5, 4-1. And, that would be just like the Knicks last year when the Cavs were overwhelmed by it. But it's obvious Orlando's not. The Wagner brothers are taunting the Cavaliers, laughing at them as they run by their bench, right? Suggs is going nose to nose with Darius Garland like, you ain't got nothing on me. I'll kick your ass. So
that's right.
It worries me, man. It
that's
really
exactly
does.
The look. What you just said, that's a look. It looks like it's it's in the ring and it's a boxing match.
Yep.
And one fighter is telling the other one, as you just said, very well said. You ain't got nothing. I'm going to kick your ass.
Yep. Now, the guys in Vegas, Reg, still think the Cavs are going to win this thing.
Really?
Just pulled up my app, right?
I didn't look at it today. Is that right?
Series winner, Cavs Magic tied 2-2. Cavs minus 180.
Oh,
Magic
my God.
plus 150.
That's all because they got 2 of the 3 at home.
Yeah.
Kenny.
I'm tempted to throw $10 down on the plus 150 and win $25. You know what I mean?
Good comeback. That'd be a good comeback. I mean, they're going to, I think that's way, way too out of place.
Yeah, that was from my
180.
Yeah. Minus 180 Cavaliers on the Fanatics app. So we'll see if that changes in the next 24 to 36 hours leading. I'm going to be there in person, by the way, Reg.
Oh, are you going?
Yeah, cool. JT and I are going to do the Kenny and JT show on WHBC before the game from Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. And then I'm going to watch this one in person to get a better feel for the physicality. And it's always better to watch it in person and see the body language on the bench and everything like that. So so next time we talk next week, I'll have seen at least one playoff game. And maybe by next week, they won't be playing anymore, Reg, when we talk. Who knows?
They might not be. Do me a favor, though. You just kind of mentioned, keep a close eye on those Cavalier timeout huddles and what have you.
Yes, I will. Absolutely.
Because JB Bickerstaff, Kenny, his look doesn't change much. Folded arms, stands the whole game over here closer to the midcourt line than the bench. And I'm beginning to wonder how much confidence there is from those he coaches, the team,
right,
in J.B. Bickerstaff and what he's laying out there. Wouldn't be the first time we've seen that. All my years in the NBA, boy, did I have a lot of experiences with that sort of thing.
Right.
Especially with this Cavaliers organization back in the day. But, if that's the case, Kenny, then it's got to be changed. It's got to be changed. But how can we say? Can we say 100% sure, though, the players aren't right?
Right. Hey, at this point, Reg, I don't know what to think. That's why I'm not putting any more money or belief in the Cavaliers until they win this series. I will not believe they can win this series. Is that fair?
Yeah, 100% fair.
Yeah, man. So
no doubt. I don't care where they're playing, because if you don't think they're not capable, the Cavaliers, of having a real poor home performance, either in Game 5 or 7, then good luck to you. Good luck to you, because I'm telling you they can. And now, Kenny just brought it up. You've got this Orlando team that everybody, and let's be honest, Ken, nobody picked them in this series.
Nope.
Hell, I saw even a couple of those that cover their team picked the Cavaliers,
right,
to win the series. So that. You know how it is. Guys aren't happy about that. We even got people here in our market that don't believe we can win. So, I don't know. I think it's going 7, Kenneth. I think it's going 7, and good luck to the Cleveland Cavaliers in winning a Game 7 at home. I'm not convinced they've got the mental capacity to do it.
And I can't argue with you on that, Reg. Like I said, until it happens, I'm not going to believe it. All right, let's do this, Reg. Let's put that to bed and get a break in here on the RnR podcast. And let's take a look at what the Browns did in this past weekend's NFL draft. No first rounder, right? Second, third, fifth, sixth, and 2 7ths. So they ended up with 6 draft picks. And I've got some of the undrafted free agents that they signed as well, Michael. So when we come back on the RnR podcast, powered by MGM Northfield Park here on the Press Play Podcast Network, we'll break down what the Cleveland Browns did in the NFL draft.
What's up, everyone? I'm Holly Wetzel.
And I'm Tyrus Powell.
And we are your hosts of The Orange is Oranger, a Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network. We give you all the dog pound coverage that you'll need to get you through the regular season, hopeful postseason, and I'd say off-season, Tyvus, but is there really ever an off-season for this team?
Thankfully for our podcast, Holly, there really never is when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. Don't miss our breakdown of each week's matchup game recaps, and any and all news out of Berea to feed your Browns appetite. As we know, Holly, dogs gotta eat.
Yes, they do. So hit that subscribe button and never miss an episode of the Orange is Oranger, Cleveland Browns podcast on the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hey, the roadman Kenny Roda here from the RnR podcast. I hope you haven't, but if you've been in a car accident and your car needs some taking care of, a little TLC, then look no further than Newark Auto Body and Zanesville Auto Body. Safe, reliable collision repairs are their business. They are a local family-run and veteran-owned business serving Newark, Zanesville, and surrounding areas, and they work with all insurance providers to make your experience hassle-free. Plus, ask them about their special discounts for U.S. military veterans. Visit them today at autobodyofnewark.com and autobodyofzanesville.com. To get your repair started, you can also call this number 740-899-4111 and tell them Reghi and Roda sent you.
Hey everybody, it's Sam Amico from Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Be sure to give us a listen for all your Cleveland Cavaliers recaps, analysis, breakdowns, draft talk, free agency. The list goes on and on. Give us a listen, Cavs on the Break NBA podcast.
Looking for new insights on the Cleveland sports scene with a unique side of Cleveland sports history? Then you found the perfect podcast. I'm John Sable.
And I'm Scott Sable, and we're hosts of the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, a podcast about Cleveland sports, but not your typical podcast about the land's sports teams. Join us as we embark on a journey of sharing a unique and historical side of Cleveland sports history with the help of some former Cleveland sports stars and other historical figures.
All right here on the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
All right, RnR gang, we know that you've got to have a go-to for memorable events and parties. Let Roda and I tell you all about Cleveland Party Rentals. That's right. Their approach is very simple. They'll treat your event as if it were their very own. Can't ask for better than that. They're going to help you alleviate the stress of event coordination so you can savor the moments that matter. They're dedicated. That's the main thing you got to know. They're dedicated to offering you pricing that is clear and free from hidden fees. And they're coupled with one of the most robust cancellation policies in the industry in case maybe you have a change in plans. Got a tailgate package, yeah? Football tailgate. You can lock in your games for the season or even come up with your very own Super Bowl party. Or you might want to unleash the ultimate entertainment experience. A game day bundle. What does that do? It's a complete package that transforms your backyard into a cinematic and gaming paradise. Gaming paradise? Count us in, right? It's your all-in-one solution for unforgettable outdoor gatherings. You get high-quality outdoor screen and projector with immersive sound, a popcorn machine, double bowl frozen drink machine, 2-tap jockey box. Everybody gets a front row seat. Here's what you got to do now. Make sure you write this down. Listeners, you got to use this code. CLE Parties Rock. That's CLEPARTIES Rock. ROCK for 10% off your booking. Tell them Reghi and Roda sent you. Make sure you get locked in with Cleveland Party Rentals.
And welcome back to the RnR podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network, powered by MGM Northfield Park, produced by Cordts. Thanks for hanging with us, Michael. We changed gears here from the woeful Cavaliers performances in Orlando to the Cleveland Browns performance in this year's 2024 NFL draft. No first-round pick last year of that with the Deshaun Watson trade, but they did go out, and I'll give them to you real quick, Michael, and then you can tell me which of these, or maybe there's a couple of them that you liked from Andrew Berry. Here's what they did. In the second round, pick 54 overall, they took Mike Hall Jr., defensive tackle out of Ohio State. We talked about him on the last podcast. In the third round, Zach Zinter, guard, 6'6", 310, out of Michigan, the national champions. No fourth round pick. In the fifth round, they grabbed a wide receiver, Jamari Thrash out of Louisville. And then in the fifth round, they did not have a pick. They had one sixth round pick. They took linebacker Nathaniel Watson out of Mississippi State. And then with their 2 7th-round picks, a cornerback out of South Dakota in Miles Harden, and a defensive tackle from Cincinnati, Jawan Briggs. So, Michael, of those 6 selections they made, which ones do you like the best?
Well, the first 2 that you mentioned better be guys that ultimately, I'm not going to say it's got to be in the rookie year, but Mike Hall, the Ohio State D tackle out of Streetsboro High School, and Zach Zinter, the All-American Michigan interior offensive lineman. Kenny, these 2 guys right there, and ironic, huh? The Buckeye and the Wolverine,
right,
that played against one another for the last 3 years. Ironic, but Kenny, they're both going to have to ultimately shine, right? Again, because you're getting them in, especially, Hall's got an opportunity. And Kenny, I prefer larger height-wise guys.
Okay.
And Mike Hall's 6'2".
Yeah.
You know what? Mo Hurst is 6'2", and Shelby Harris is 6'2". So, right, you've already got those 2 guys that are in the interior, but I like Hall's production. Kenny, I thought, honestly, in looking at tape that, and that's fine, it's not an indictment on a young man. I thought he was better in the 2022 season than he was this past year.
Correct.
The numbers show a little bit better, but even more than that, I look at, his get-off ability, and I just saw much better tape in 2022 than I did in 23. Let's hope he gets back to that 22 type performance. Zach Zinter, the Michigan All-American. Kenny, look, he's going to take a spot, again, not this year, but I would say probably by 2025, a starting spot that's currently held by either Joel Petonio or Wyatt Teller. Joel Petonio is going to be 33 years old, and Wyatt Teller will be 31 years old. So, very strong component of Michigan's offensive line strength the last 3 years. 42 starts for Jim Harbaugh's team. First team All-American. Kenny, they're looking, get him. He plays at about 315, 6'6", good length, going to get him up to probably that 325 range. But to me, Ken, Hall and Zinter got to be strong players for the Cleveland Browns starting in 2025.
Agree,
you concur with that?
Yeah, 100%, Michael. The last time we got together, I told you, for me, we talked about those defensive tackles, the one from LSU, Jenkins from Michigan, and Hall. I would have taken either one of them over Hall, but they weren't available.
Yeah.
For me and Mel Kiper, I'm looking at his report on ESPN.com. It says Hall's tape at Ohio State was maddening at times because he didn't consistently produce.
Yeah.
And then there were other times he was blowing, stuff up in the backfield. And, it seemed like every other play. So consistency with him is going to be the thing that I'll keep an eye on. I expect him to get some rotation time this year. Okay.
He better.
Right. And see what he can do. Zinter's coming off the broken leg. And ironically, it was Hall who rolled up on him in that Michigan game that cost him the rest of the season. And now they're teammates. But I love the Zinter pick from this standpoint. I think, like you said, and they were willing to bypass a wide receiver there in the 3rd round, maybe, right? Because they said, this kid, if he's not hurt, is probably going late 1st round, early 2nd round. We got ourselves a starter on the offensive line in the 3rd round. We'll find a receiver if we have to somewhere else, but let's grab this kid because when he's healthy, he's going to be a guy that you plug in and play for 5 to 7 years.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right about that. But again, Hall, Zinter, by 2025, again, they're going to have to be centerpieces of this Browns D-line, Hall, O-line, Zinter. And guys that you go back and say, good picks by the Browns. We're not going to know till they start playing. I doubt Hall has a chance to see more playing time, I would think. Hopefully, if everything is correct, it's still going to be Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller, right? As the Browns starting offensive guard tandem in 2024. That's cool. I'm sure they'll find a way, though, to get Zinter snaps and involved. But these two guys, Kenny, these two guys, the other one that I happen to call a game of is Jamari Thrash.
Okay, tell me about him.
Well, again, now when I called, he was playing at Georgia State.
Okay.
He hit the transfer portal and went to Louisville. 63 catches, 858 yards, and 6 touchdowns for a Louisville Cardinal program this past year. I liked him, and the coaching staff liked him when, like I said, I called, did I go one or two? One, I think. Only one, his time at Georgia State.
All right.
And is a guy that they feel makes contested catches. Okay. They like that about him. But Ken, by the same token, had kind of a drop issue this past year. So it's almost like he makes contested catches, but so he dropping the ones when he's running free? I don't like hearing that either. So I'm gonna type that Andrew Berry got a guy that's going to be able to contribute to that wide receiver room. The other guy that I've heard good things about, Kenny, especially the way he plays the run, is the 6th-round pick, the linebacker Nathaniel Watson.
Okay.
And give me linebackers that can get inside between the tackles, Kenny, and play the run well and can blow some things up in the opponent run game. Evidently, from what I've been told, the Browns feel that Nathaniel Watson has a chance to grow into that.
Okay.
And the linebacking core, again, I don't know. I don't
average at best with the emergence, hopefully, of getting better with JOK, right?
Exactly. So there's kind of a little bit of a thumbnail. I don't know too much about Andrew Berry's 7th-round tandem of Miles.
And Reg, we shouldn't. That's not our job. That's their job to be able to find that diamond in there. Here's what I will say, all right? When the Steelers draft a wide receiver, I never question it because it seems like they can find a receiver in the draft, outside the draft, on the moon, wherever, right? It's what they do. The Indians/Guardians, they can find pitchers no matter what they do. Draft, trades, free agency, right?
Yeah.
And Andrew Berry seems to do pretty well with defensive backs. So Miles Harden, the cornerback out of South Dakota in the 7th round, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they should know more than we do, and they do. And so we'll see if this guy is something more than just a special teams player. So I'll count on them doing what they do well, and that is finding cornerbacks in the draft.
Fair enough. That's fair. Yeah. And Jawan Briggs, although I did not call a Cincinnati game in 2023, and I don't recall too much about the young man, quite frankly. But again, I mean, we just said that about the linebacker situation and with Andrew Berry. So Kenny again, 6th, 7th round.
Right.
White. I mean, you hope that. I think you hope that they can be a quality backup to begin their career, and in some cases, depending on their position, give you help in special teams, right? But that's about all you can. That's about all you can expect. Hope for that area of the draft.
All right. So undrafted free agent rookies, Reg. This according to the 33rdteam.com website. All right. That's with all the former coaches.
These are guys they signed late yesterday and today, right?
Yeah, according to the 33rdteam.com, all right? And I'll run them down, and then you tell me if you've heard of any of these guys because I don't know any of them, Reg.
Okay.
BYU running back Aiden Robbins, South Carolina wide receiver Amarian Brown.
So I've seen him.
Okay.
Amarian Brown, yes.
Let's see here. Mercer University wide receiver Ty James.
Have not seen Mr. James, no.
Wyoming tight end Trayton Welch.
Nope.
North Dakota State offensive lineman Jalen Sundell. Miami.
Heard of him, but don't know a whole lot about him.
All right. Miami O-lineman Javion Cohen. Rhode Island O-lineman Lorenzo Thompson. Weber State linebacker Winston Reed, Arizona.
Yep. I
You know
happened to
him?
call a Weber State game
Oh.
from a couple. So I saw, and kind of a guy that runs sideline to sideline well, and was
Okay.
their top linebacker at Weber State, Big Sky Conference, and part of the FCS playoffs for a couple of seasons. So obviously well thought of by the NFL teams.
All right. And the last two, and there may be more, but these are the last two they listed. Arizona State cornerback Chris Edmonds and South Dakota State cornerback Dyshawn Gales. So those are other.
That's two. They took his teammate, Miles Warren, the nickel from South Dakota State.
Yeah. So there you go.
So Andrew Berry spent some time, and that's a very good FCS program.
It is,
for what it's worth.
So that's the draft class / rookie free agent class so far for the Cleveland Browns. Just real quick, Reg, I looked at various internet reports, websites and whatnot. Browns got about a C average is what I saw for, their picks. And obviously when you don't have that first rounder, right? But the one thing that I'll say that you have to factor in is if Jerry Jeudy hits, you used one of your draft picks this year to get Jerry Jeudy, right?
That's right. Yes.
In parentheses, we've got to add maybe Jerry Jeudy to this draft class, even though he's not a rookie. He's part of it because they gave up a pick to get him from Denver.
Well, he's got to have a big year behind Amari Cooper, doesn't he?
Yep.
I mean, there's no other no two ways to say it. This guy's got to be a productive two, meaning your number 2 wide receiver, because that's what he's brought here to do. So that's going to have to happen for Andrew Berry with the Jerry Jeudy signing. Kenny, to me, though, again, this is all about Mike Hall and Zach Zinner to begin with. To me, right? All about Mike Hall and Zach Zinner. Looking for both of them to play. How about just say play productive snaps and contribute to Hall, the D-line, the D-front, and Zinter, the O-line in 2024. Is that putting too much on them?
No.
Two guys who were second and third round draft picks?
Not at all, Reg. And with the way they dropped on the offensive line last year, Zinter's one snap away from getting some playing time whenever he's 100% healthy.
Well, that's right. So we'll be looking a lot at Mike Hall Jr. and Zach Zinner because, as Kenny just said, who knows? The opportunity may be there for both of them, even more than they are expecting right now. We'll see.
All right, Reg, that'll wrap up this edition of the RnR podcast. We'll get together again next week. We'll see where the Cavaliers are. We'll see if the Browns picked up anybody else as a rookie free agent or any other moves. And we got to start giving some love, Reg, to those Guardians. They played the Braves well this weekend. They lost 2 out of 3, but they were, right there in a chance to win that series. And they've got the best record in the American League. So next week, for sure, after the first month of the season is in the books, we'll give the Guardians a little love next week. How's that?
No, absolutely. They're off to a real good start, and Stephen Vogt is doing a very fine job. And of course, how's he going to replace Tito Francona? So far, through the first not quite a month, doing very, very well is Stephen Vogt.
No doubt about it. We'll get into all that and much more next time on the RnR podcast. Thank you to all of our loyal listeners, followers, out there for hanging with us. And we look forward to providing you more insight and no bullshit that you're going to get anywhere else. How about that to close the show, Reg? None of the homerisms that you're going to get anywhere else. You're going to get, like Jack Nicholson said, you can't handle the truth.
Well,
if you
Great
can't,
line,
then don't listen to this podcast, right?
One of the best lines ever in movie history. A Few Good Men, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yes, indeed. With that look on his face, can't handle the truth.
Oh, it's fantastic. Great
Beautiful.
stuff.
Great job, buddy. And we'll see. Cavaliers, they're going to be done at this time next week. One way or the other, we'll have the first game. If there is a game 7, it'll be Sunday, correct?
I think so, Reg. Tuesday, Thursday. I'll have to look.
Sunday,
Who
maybe
knows with
Saturday?
them? Yeah, who knows with them? But hopefully we're talking about them continuing to play.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll continue to break it all down. Always good to be with you, buddy. Have a good week.
You too. Thanks again to everybody out there. Talk to you next time on the RnR Podcast.